Alright, so Zhang versus Kabayel. Right? And it's a great heavyweight fight between two top 5 heavyweights. But I think Kabayel gets knocked out early. Because when you're throwing a body shot against Southpaw with a good check right hook, like Zhang, you also open yourself up to those check right hooks from the Southpaw. And Zhang has checked way faster opponent in Wilder. Right? And Zhang's right hook can also be a clapping behind the ear type of hooks, right? Like the beterbiev type of hooks. And if beterbiev isn't punished for it, then so shouldn't everybody else. And Zhang's also got a good counter left. And a good uppercut. And some good body shots of his own, too. And Kabayel has been hurt by a southpaw journeyman named Akron Smacky, right? And Joyce stopped Leroy Thomas faster than Akron Smacky stopped Leroy Thomas. And Zhang, after solved his dehydration illness, right, overpowered the prime Joyce. So Zhang hits at least way more harder than Akron Smacky, right? And Kabayel is not nowhere near as fast as weighted prime Parker, right? So he'll be a lot easier to catch than Parker. And even someone as fast as weighted Parker, he still got caught and dropped twice, And Zhang was overweight for that fight. When it got down to the 280s against Wilder, he was a lot better. And I think Zhang is going to land some And I think Zhang is going to throw some accurate full power shots early this time. Because when Zhang fought Wilder, right, they both had that nuclear bomb in their hand, right? They're both very fast, top punchers. So they were both very worried about running into each other's shots, right? So in the early rounds, they were just mostly probing each other, And Zhang has good defense, and Wilder, at that point, has better skills than before, So he also employed some defensive techniques, some defensive skills, although some of them is illegal, like stiff arming, right, and ducking below the waist. And when they started to land some full power shots, right, one of them went to sleep, and it was Wilder. Even Eddie Zhang is the hardest puncher in the entire division, in the heavyweight division. And Kabayel, although has decent power, but not the power of Wilder, nowhere near the speed of the roided Wilder. Wilder doesn't need a lot of punches to stop a guy without an iron chin, without a good chin, right? So Zhang's got all the tools to knock out Kabayel early. Right? He's bigger, he's faster, right? He hits at least way more harder than Kabayel, right? Kabayel has never stopped a good chinned opponent, Makhmudov was never fought anyone. Struggled with a washed-up Takam, and Sanchez, never had a good chin, right? Sanchez, even the Sanchez who wasn't injured, was getting hurt early by a journeyman named Scott Alexander, And it took a lot of body punches and headshots from Kabayel to stop an injured Frank Sanchez. And Zhang has stopped, even the Natty Zhang has stopped an iron chin opponent in Joyce, right? Prime Joyce. And the fact that Zhang has stopped or dropped every opponent since he solved his dehydration problem. Dropped Hergovich, who's got an iron chin early, right? And he also dropped Prime Parker. Prime roided Parker who also has an iron chin, too. Dropped him early as well. The only opponent he didn't drop was the Prime Joyce, who at that time had the best chin ever, right? Because the next strength training is more advanced in this era, right? And the PEDs are more advanced in this era. And the prime Royder Joyce took a big puncher in Dubois, several big flush shots from Dubois without getting hurt, you know. But still, Zhang still broke that Joyce's bone and hurt that Joyce early, you know. And allegedly, Joyce has bones that are 5 or 6 times stronger than the regular human, which I don't buy that. You know, I think that's a stretch, you know. But I do think that he is abnormal dense bones, you know, along with the abnormal neck strengths which he had at that time. Because he took a big puncher in Dubois, several big front shots from them, Dubois without getting hurt, you know. And I'm talking about the prime Royder Joyce. And also Zhang is more accurate than Kabayel, right? According to the CompuBox stats, Zhang is one of the most accurate boxers right now in all divisions, right? And the fact that Zhang has fought at much higher competition level than Kabayel has. And Zhang also hits a lot harder than Mahmoud, at least a way more harder than Makhmudov, who couldn't even stop a 40-year-old. Washed up Takam had already been sparked out cold twice at that point, and hadn't fought anybody. And Makhmudov is really a crude and inaccurate puncher, unlike Zhang. And Zhang's very accurate puncher, right? Who's a little faster. And Zhang also is at least way more harder than Frank Sanchez, you know. Frank Sanchez, you know, who, you know, only TKO'd that journeyman named Scott Alexander, even after Zhang knocked Scott Alexander out cold with one punch in the first round, you know. And by the way, you know, neither of them connected a big flush shot on Kabayel. I don't think so, you know. And Frank Sanchez was injured. And the fact that, you know, Kabayel doesn't seem to know how to tie up against the southpaw. You know, when he fought Akron Smacky, you know, probably his only southpaw Kabayel has ever fought, or at least the most recent southpaw he's fought. And if he's fighting Zhang, right, he would be eating a right hook right fucking there. You know, after throwing a big right hand, he just froze, you know, and Smacky was just wail on him, right? And if you do that with Zhang, Kabayel is, and if Kabayel do that with Zhang, right, Kabayel is not getting out of the ring alive, you know. And if Kabayel couldn't tie up a journeyman, right, Smacky, how is he gonna tie up a much bigger Zhang, you know, who's stronger than Smacky? You know, and hits at least way more harder. So Zhang's got all the tools to knock out Kabayel early, and I think he will knock out Kabayel early, unless it just ages overnight, because it's roid drain, you know. And Zhang lacks political connections, like beterbiev with Kadyrov, you know. If he has good political connections, it's, you know, the only advantage Kabayel has over Zhang is stamina, right? And if Zhang has some good political connections, it would be getting the best, you know, Roys and mask agents. And it wouldn't even need to worry about getting out of shape and having terrible stamina, which he is, you know. Seeing as beterbiev, after hooking up with Kadyrov, gets to be 40 years old and be more muscular than a much younger man, right, in Bivol. and a better stamina than the younger man, who's probably roided also. You know. And if Zhang has those roids, right, Zhang would be unbeatable. And if this fight goes to a decision, right, Zhang has absolutely zero chance of winning it. Because Kabayel, Kabayel is a Kurdish Muslim and they're fighting in Saudi Arabia. And also Zhang, drug testing agencies has already drained Zhang. And those Zhang judges, right, corrupt as judges, has already robbed Zhang twice against Hergovich and Parker. Because Zhang is actually a nationalistic and Chinese man. And our history is one of the few histories whose great part is proven true by the genetics, aka haplogroups, Y haplogroups. Right? And I'm not talking about this official history, which is for the sheeps. I'm talking about real history as proven by real genetics, right? The Y haplogroups. If you know which haplogroups originated and persisted as the vast majority for thousands of years, right? And if you know some geopolitics, right, and watch some news, the Kurdish regime in the Middle East is Zhang. And although we also have some Zhang influences, right? A lot of Zhang influences, right? After all, communism was invented by Jays and sponsored by Jays. At least we don't have a single J in our government, and our banks are not controlled by Zionists. And our leaders don't act like lapdogs for the Zhang, for Israel, for the Zionists, like those American politicians are. And we don't have American military base. And we don't side with Zhang. We don't side with Israel, and we don't side with Zionists. Like those Kurds are siding with Zionists. So Kabayel has all the political advantage in this fight. And so if it goes to decision, right, Zhang has zero chance of winning the decision. So Zhang basically has to knock Kabayel out early, right? Which I think Zhang is going to do, unless it ages overnight. Which I don't think is Tanya. I think Zhang still got 2 or 3 fights at the top level against, Kabayel and Usyk. And then maybe it's down. Right? As long as Zhang doesn't age overnight, Zhang knocks Kabayel out early.